Hey everybody, this is Diana Scott with Blue Castle IT Solutions coming at you this morning. We're continuing our security series today. This is going to be episode 2 on ransomware protection called Backups Done Right. Before we launch into it, I'm just going to remind everybody you can head over to go.bluecastleIT.com. Come check out our website. If you're a small business owner, C-level executive, firm administrator, please reach out to us if you've got questions about ransomware and how that might affect your business, and in particular, how your backups can protect you in the case that your business encounters a ransomware infection. So we're going to go into it. Again, today we're talking about backups done right. So I'll keep it really short and sweet. If you've been paying attention to the news recently, you've probably heard of a number of organizations who have been affected by ransomware. I was actually past couple of meetings I've had with clients. They've told me they've had major concerns with ransomware because they're hearing other companies in their same industry are encountering it, or in some cases getting ransomwared and then having to pay the Bitcoin amount to get their data back. So in those cases, there's usually kind of two scenarios that are going to happen when you hear about a ransomware attack on the news. It's either going to be that they were ransomware, but then they were able to recover their data from their backups and they did not have to pay the ransom to get their data back. Or you're going to hear that the data was ransomware and the company had to pay the ransom in order to get the data. So what's the main thing between these two scenarios? One in which you do experience a ransomware attack, however, you are able to recover your data. Or on the other side of things, you have to either pay money, which, by the way, when you pay the ransom, there is no guarantee that you will get that data back. I mean, you're working with malicious parties. You don't know who's on the other side of the ransom. You could pay a Bitcoin amount and not get that data back. So anyways, when I hear about those companies who have to pay a ransom, I basically think it's going to be one of two things. One is that they didn't have a proper backup solution in place at all, meaning they just weren't backing up their data, which is probably less common these days, but can still happen. You still hear about this with organizations. They just didn't make, copies of the data. Or number two, which is the most, I think important thing to talk about, which is your backups have to be done properly. It's not just about having redundancy and making sure you have a separate copy of your data. I mean, that was the original purpose behind backups. But with the ransomware threat that's out there, we have to be aware of the fact that, let's say you have a computer, it gets infected with ransomware, maybe it's your server, and let's say you're backing up data to an external hard drive plugged into that server or that PC workstation. Well, the ransomware virus is designed to not only encrypt the original copy of your data, but it will detect that plugged in external hard drive and immediately try to encrypt the backup copies. So the backups are themselves files which can be encrypted and held ransom. And the other thing is, of course, that if there's no offsite copy of the backup, and it's only the local device on your network that you're copying that backup to, well, again, your network gets infected and your original copy of data is encrypted, and then your backup copy of data is encrypted. And I think that's probably oftentimes when you hear of a company experiencing a ransomware infection and having to pay the ransom, it's because their backups were also ransomware. And so they couldn't go back to those backups and restore the data from them because they were also compromised. So making sure that your backups are properly set up. The industry term, I believe, is like stop gapping or air gapping your backup, so that if a device on your network gets compromised, the wherever your data is being stored is not compromised. Okay, so if, let's say, your server has ransomware, well, you have your backups arranged in such a way that if a virus were to get onto wherever the original data is stored, it cannot spread to where your backups are being stored. So you have some sort of gap in place where the virus cannot spread. To try to explain all the different methods of setting that up, we'd probably get really technical, and that's not what this video is about. But what I'd say is this: if it's so critically important that your backups are done properly with the looming threat of ransomware. If you are a business owner or you work at a business and you understand, you are thinking, I don't know if we were set up properly to, withstand a ransomware threat. I mean, I'm seeing huge organizations, maybe, quadruple the size of our business, and they're getting ransomware and they're finding themselves having to pay the ransom to get their data back. So how do I know that my environment is set up properly, that we wouldn't have to do that, that if worst case scenario, we did have a ransomware incident at our business, that our backups are protected? If that's a question running through your mind after hearing this, then please come and talk to us. Please go to go.bluecastlit.com, reach out to us, or reach out to us on social media, because we want to talk to you. We want to help you make the decisions necessary to make sure your backups are protected from ransomware. Okay, everybody, it's Diana with Blue Castle IT. See you guys next week.